while other societies are cutting down on how long an international student can remain after study if they choose to. For people who have completed a master's degree, you can remain for 5 years. Previously, it used to be 3 years.
Hello, guys. Welcome to the Visa Pathfinder. My name is Peter Olubayo, and with me today is Ikechukwu Uwampa, the founder of Go Study Agencies. He's waving to us over there. It's nice to meet you, IK, today. We worked together very shortly before he migrated to Australia. He's a peer licensed education agent counselor in Australia. And he's the founder of that agency, helping a lot of prospective students into Australia. Did I miss anything? Do you want to add anything to your introduction?
Yeah. Hello. Welcome, everyone, to Visa Pathfinders. Just like my good friend and brother have said, my name is Ikechukwu. Everybody would call me IK. I know Mr. Peter Olubayo quite well. He said for me, it doesn't feel like we've known each other forever. We did work together. And one good thing is that, aside all that we do together on media, we both subscribe to the same profession. And that was the profession that brought us all together when we were back in Nigeria. Not just before I migrated, before he also, migrated as well. Just like you said, I'm surprised he knows what peer is, but Mr. Peter is a man of so many skills and talent. I am a peer licensed education agent counselor with specific license to speak to international education in Australia. I co-found Gold Study Agency. I have a group of other recruiters as well who are, if not equally as licensed or experienced or more experienced than I am. We all founded Gold Study Agency. One beautiful thing about everybody in Gold Study Agency is that we all belong to the highly respected, regulated profession, the nursing profession.
Wow.
And one lovely thing was that we were all international students. So drawing from all our lived experience, which were fantastic and not so fantastic, we all pooled capacity, resources, experience, and skill together, and we founded Gold Study Agency to change the narrative on how international student recruitment is run from our operational region. It's a pleasure being on this platform. Thank you very much, Mr. Peter.
Oh, thank you, IK. It's a pleasure to have you on here after a long while. All right, so straight to business today. Australia is becoming more and more attractive to prospective students and even skilled workers. So why should I choose Australia over every other country out there? And if you don't mind talking about studying in Australia in terms of the immigration rules, how many hours am I allowed to work? Let's start from even the tuition fees, how dependent friendly is Australia, and also post-study visa.
All right. So basically, I'll start from the society Australia. Just like the society where we come from, Australia is a very friendly society, just like what we are used to. So you get to immediately acclimatize to the society. It's a very people-friendly society. It's a very welcoming society as well. The climate is a mixture of everything. If you're more drifted towards the cold regions, you got places in Australia, and that's what we would counsel you. If you want a more warm, humid than the rest of them, we've got North Queensland and far North Queensland and all that stuff. And if you want, rainy, temperate, and the rest of them, we can all put all that into perspective. So environmentally and ecologically, Australia is a very balanced society. Australia is very big on sustainable energy. So that means that the air you're going to be breathing is clean. Then regarding tuition fee, you see, the goal should be quality education. So with the level of education Australia transfers to every international student compared to the fee you're going to be paying for it as an international student, I think you're paying a good amount for quality. Quality everywhere in the world doesn't come cheap. It's just like healthcare. Good healthcare costs money. Shady and whack healthcare, it's cheap, but what does it come? It comes at the cost of you either relinquishing your good health or losing your life entirely. So you have to be very, very careful when you're subscribing to societies.
Yeah.
Anything goes. Yeah. So Australia is a very regulated country academically, and that does come at a cost. But just like we tell all of our students, what's your budget? What's your expectation? What's your limits? And then we can all factor all of this into consideration. There are access, there are different levels of institution. There are the very A grade schools, which are exceedingly expensive, maybe because of research, because of reputation as well, you know. So generally, the tuition fee is really very affordable. And that is also one wonderful thing about Australia. Um, you pretty much as an international student, there is the leeway for you to look after your living expense. Okay, you can
Okay.
work. That's one very lovely thing. From the 1st of July, international students, instead of removing their work hours, so many societies are removing work hours from international students. Australia, however, is adding from the 1st of July 2023. You heard this from me first. You haven't heard it nowhere else. The government have reviewed the work hours for international students to be 48 hours per fortnight. So previously it used to
Okay.
be 40 hours, that's 20 hours a week, and for straight up 40 hours a fortnight. From the 1st of July, international students are going to be allowed to work 48 hours a fortnight. It gets better than that. There's a catch, and you heard it only from Gold Study Agency and Visa Pathfinders. Students that work in the aged care sector. What do you guys call aged care in the UK?
Care.
Care,
We can call
care
them care.
homes. Yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
lovely. International students that work as carers or in
Yeah.
care
Carers.
homes would be
Okay.
allowed to work unlimited. All
Oh
right.
my.
So if you're
Interesting.
an international student listening to Visa Pathfinder and Go Study Agency on this interview, you should start thinking and drifting towards what industry you would be subscribing to. That's it about work rights and all that stuff. Please, all of this information, you can also Google and check all of that stuff. Then regarding family and dependence. That's one thing I said, that Australia is very similar to the society we came from. It's a very huge family-oriented society. They promote family and all that stuff. So you have the right in your visa. They do not exclude families. They do not want to break families apart. So you have the right to include in your visa your dependents. Whereas some other societies are excluding dependents and family, Australia is strong and big on dependents and family. Yes. I don't know if I've touched on everything. Is there something else?
Yeah, I know a lot of students also want to know if there is any pathway to permanent residency and citizenship.
Um, you see, I'll start by talking about post-study work visa.
Yeah.
That's also one very beautiful thing about Australia. While other societies are cutting down on how long an international student can remain after study if they choose to. All
Okay.
right. In
Yeah.
Gold Study Agency, all of the students we recruit, I'm just putting this disclaimer out, are genuine temporal entrants who come into Australia for the purpose of pursuing this world-class education. That is not to say that the Australian government tries to exclude anybody. No. In Australia, it's called Temporal Graduate Work Visa Subclass 485. Okay? From 1st of July 2023, the Australian government has extended how long an international student can stay upon graduation. People who complete a bachelor's degree in Australia, from 1st of July 2023, they will be able to stay 4 years. Previously, it used to be 2 years. You don't get
Wow.
this anywhere. For people who have completed a master's degree, you can remain for 5 years. Previously, it used to be 3 years. So the Australian government have extended it to 5 years if you choose to. For people who did complete a PhD, you can remain for 6 years. Previously, it used to be 4 years. So these are these little perks that this wonderful society throw in every now and then. Despite the fact that every student who come into Australia for international education would live up to the genuine temporal entrance criteria, the government also is fair enough to know that you've lived a certain number of time of your life here, and you may need some extended period to say goodbye to family and friends, to check up on colleagues and old academic professors and the rest of them, and tidy yourself before you leave. So yes, that would be my response to that. Yeah.
Honestly, that is great. That is great. I think even for nurses and a lot of professionals that I have in Australia, including yourself, a lot of people came back to say that Australia is a very friendly society. You can't take that from them. So that's fantastic. And considering the post-study work visa, you can tell that they are looking into getting a lot of people, exceptional students, to stay with them, hopefully. All right. So I know that a lot
Exactly.
of people also have, let's say, just national diploma or higher national diploma, HND. Can they also apply to study in Australia?
Oh yeah, definitely. You see, from society where we come from, education can be very, very exclusive. You want everybody to be a first class
Mhm.
graduate. There is a massive desire for everybody to have a BSc, a degree,
Yeah.
a master's, a PhD. Certification, excessive and bogus certification seem to be the order of the day. It's quite different here.
Okay.
Nobody's excluded, not at all. So if you have an OND, if you have a HND, okay, the system has a way of absorbing you. So yeah, it's very positive. You can still seek for international education no matter what your qualification is. The basic thing you need to have is an O level.
Oh, that's great. So you already answered my next question. I'm sure what you've said also is that even people that have two third class can even find a way of
Yes.
integrating and find something to do. All right. So another big issue for studying abroad is English language proficiency examination. So I know you have to do PTE or IELTS. So what is the level of PTE or IELTS that is acceptable in Australian university, or can this ever be waived at all?
Um, I'll start by this is a very tricky question, and you just put me on the hot spot because there is what happens in the market, and there is my personal preference. So
Okay.
I do not want clash of interest. You
Okay.
can you can come to Australia. Some universities can accept you
Okay.
without English competency exam. That is the truth.
Okay.
And I would also say that if you are not from a native English speaking country and you want to study in societies like Australia or native speaking English society, I would always advise that you have a valid English competency exam certificate, either IELTS, PTE, TOEFL, OET. The most famous one is IELTS and PTE. For most Australian institutions, they would require IELTS or PTE. Base score would be 65 for PTE and
Okay.
6.5 for IELTS. However, for some courses may have specific requirements, especially healthcare courses. Healthcare courses would generally require IELTS 7.0
Okay.
overall with no individual band score less than 7.0, or PTE 65 with no component less than 65. That is for healthcare courses. Also, there are some courses that have accreditation requirements. What that
Okay.
means is that these courses belong to a very regulated profession. These regulatory organizations are responsible to set the accreditation standard for this institution. So anybody who is practicing in that profession, even as a student, need to live up to those accreditation requirements. So for
Okay.
you from a non-native English speaking country, despite the fact that you've been taught in English and all that stuff, you need to meet up to these accreditation requirements. So for all healthcare courses in Australia, you would need IELTS. For some
Okay.
other courses that are not that do not have accreditation requirement, you may not, depending on the institution. But this is my own personal opinion. You don't have to believe it. If you are coming to study in Australia, if you're coming to study in any native English speaking country, please attempt and try to pass in your home country the English language competence assessment. Things change. There are opportunities that may come up. You may want to take advantage of it. The world is a very dynamic place, and that's what I tell all my students. Just like, regulations change every now and then. You don't want to be in this country where you're studying, you've got work-life balance, you've got bills and all that stuff, and then you're struggling to write all these exams and all that stuff. So yes, yeah, that would be my response to that.
All right, so I think I share your sentiment as well, and that is why I advise to take, for instance, if you want to come and care for patients, you won't be able to care safely for them if you don't understand what they are saying. That is listening aspect, or you can't speak, at that level. So I quite agree with that. All right, so we are getting close to, how Go Study Agency can be of help here. But before we get into that, are there scholarships that international students can apply to?
Oh yeah, there are heaps of scholarship, several numerous scholarship. I It would be unfair for me to start listing them one after the other, but I know that the Charles Darwin University,
Okay.
for students from our operational region, on being accepted to study in Australia, you automatically qualify for scholarship. It can be that easy, and also there might be excellent award scholarship and the rest of them. On commencement of your study, in consideration of your performance, if you are an excellent student and all that stuff, you might be eligible for scholarship. But there are so many heaps, numerous. When you talk to us and we have that chat, if your aim thing is scholarship, we might be able to, point you to that direction. But yes, there are a lot of, I think there are some universities that have scholarship for African students and the rest of them. You don't need to do
Yeah.
anything. All you need to do is just to apply and be accepted, and you qualify automatically. Yeah, yeah. Australia is
Yeah.
huge on scholarship. Yes.
And of course, people should know that this can be partial or full scholarship.
Oh,
So you don't
definitely.
say,
That's
oh,
true.
I just need to
Yes.
apply and
And that's
I
it.
come
Yeah,
to
yeah, that's
Australia.
true. That's a very good caveat to mention. It could be
Yeah,
partial or full. Yes.
yeah, yeah. Okay, so let's say I want to apply to study in Australia and I want to do it myself without an agency. Where do I start from?
Um, I'll be very straightforward with this response. That used to be the norm previously, but these days, to improve turnaround time, most universities I know these days, most institutions would prioritize their partner recruitment agencies just to make the process a lot more shorter, because there's a verification process to your academic qualification and everything. So to take away all those red tape, they kind of partner with um, agencies and the rest that are strong and well represented in in the operational region where the student is coming from, that know and can be able to filter which is genuine and ingenuine regarding academic documents and the rest of them. You see, I do not speak for every school in Australia. I only speak for the ones that I have agreement with. These days, they generally prefer you apply through these recruitment agencies. Yes,
Of
it's
which Go Study Agency is one.
is one of them. Yes. I'm not marketing Go Study Agency, please. I'm just having a chat with Peter. But what I'm trying to say is that these days, yes, if you're talking about skilled migration and all that stuff, you can do it 100% yourself. But these days,
Okay.
international student admission processes, they point you towards recruitment partners. Yes.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, that's okay. Of course, you have to pay me for these advertisements. So
Thank you,
let's
sir.
get into how Go Study Agency can be of help.
All right. So our processes are very simple. When you look us up, you our website is www.goldstudyagency.com. visa.com.ng. Um, we are also very present in Instagram. I'll give you our Instagram handle, so all that's going to be in the description box and our contact and all that stuff. We will start with initial counseling, where we would collect some vital information from you that would tell us whether you're a genuine student and what your qualifications and experience are. And afterwards, we would take it from there, and hopefully we process your admission, and when it's time to apply for your visa, we also offer assistance. And that's one beautiful thing about us. We also have what we call pre-departure services, because the process can be very lengthy. We've got biometrics, we've got medical and all that stuff. Even for people who are unable to book their English exams by themselves due to whatever situation they find themselves, we can also support with all that stuff as well. So we look after the student comprehensively throughout the whole process. It doesn't just end in your onboarding to this society. When you arrive here, we also have what we call post-arrival services. We can do airport pickup on very discreet arrangements as well. We also can offer you real-time industry advice, on the ground advice, how to get yourself running. We can support you with temporal accommodation and all that stuff on discrete arrangement as well. We can also offer career advice, because, as mature age students who are leaving their country and the rest of them, you may want to know what resume works in this society and all that stuff, how to point you to the right industry for a job and all that stuff. So we offer all these services as well. Yes.
All right. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to have you on here. Just to mention
Thank
to
you
our
very much,
viewers
sir.
that IK will be available to, comment, to read your comments and also respond to your. He's a very busy man, and it's not easy to get him on here. But we are friends. I can't ask him for anything. So it will be
Yeah, no.
available to come to the comment section and try and respond to your questions. I think before we go, is there any parting word? Is there anything we missed? Anything you want to say to prospective students from our region?
Please, if you haven't subscribed to the Visa Pathfinders, if you have not liked this video, I do not know what you are still doing. I am a part of the Visa Pathfinders, okay? Visa Pathfinders is the umbrella body that encompasses all of us. It's not just about international student and go study agency. Visa Pathfinder is a very rich platform where dreams are turned into reality. All right. So keep watching the Visa Pathfinders. Keep up with Mr. Peter Olubayo, and hopefully all of your dreams will translate to reality. Thank you very much, everyone. It's been
Oh
a very
my.
wonderful pleasure.
No wonder the name of your agency is Gold Agency. I think you have gold art as well. That's so nice
Thank
to
you.
hear from you, IK. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to have you here today, and I'm sure we'll have so many. You find time for us to come on these on Visa Pathfinder anytime we call. And to all our viewers, thank you so much for joining today. And it's been a pleasure to have you on here. Just like Heike mentioned, if you have not subscribed to this channel, you might be missing a lot. So do so right now. Like and share this video to your friends and families who will need it. And check out Go Study Agency online. I'll put a lot of their details on here
Yeah.
for you to, and I'm sure you might be getting a discount. I'm putting him on hotspot now. We haven't discussed this. So if you mention that you are from Peter Olubayo or from Visa Pathfinders, he knows that you are a family already. And,
Yeah.
let's just see how we can be part of your success story.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.